Hair's fucked. That's fine. Let me just get coffee. All right.
Fuck you.
It's
man.
here. It's here in my room. It's in my room. There you go. We can start.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. This is an important interview right here for everyone that doesn't know. Is Marco. Introduce yourself, please. Tell us what you do.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Marco. I'm the founder and the owner of One of One. What I like to call the biggest slow fashion platform out there, right? And yeah, I don't know. I didn't really prepare for this. I run One of One. I've been doing this for a couple of years. When it comes to like everything behind the scenes, when it comes to custom fashion and do-it-yourself fashion, essentially like all the business aspects of that. I've been handling that for a bunch of designers for, I don't know, like a year now. And I've been doing IG just for 2 years. And yeah, I'm here now.
It's perfect. Okay, so let's start. What is the one-on-one? What's the concept behind it?
Good question. Good question. One of one, I would honestly call one of one. Well, to be fair, like it's a platform, right? It's a platform for slow, one-of-a-kind fashion, where you can shop exclusively one-of-a-kind stuff. You buy something, it's one of one, it's gone, right? But more than that, one of one is a reaction to fast fashion, is reaction to oversaturation in the fashion industry, overconsumption, and all of that stuff. A lot of people are talking about that, and a lot of people try to do something about that. But I thought about it for a long time, and ultimately I came to a conclusion that the most sustainable way to consume fashion, it is one of one clothing, and that's it. There's no more sustainable and more genuine way to consume fashion and clothing other than that. Because when you get a piece that only you have in the entire world and nobody else, and it has been upcycled by independent person somewhere in their own bedroom, made just for you, and made to last, right? Made durable, made high quality, and it's just so special. It's just so much more special than anything else you can buy, and that's what I'm trying to do. You know, with one of one, again, the point of one of one is really that connection between garments and their owners. You know, I really want to, yeah, to make those connections stronger. I don't want people to just have a t-shirt or whatever, like, yeah, I like this t-shirt because it looks cool and, you know, that's it. No, I want people to have relationships with their garments. I want to know when they got them, why they have them, where they wear them. Like, I want them to take care of them and such and such and such.
I respect it a lot. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And in regards to that, where did, like you said, you've been thinking a lot about this. Where did it start? Like, when did you see that overconsumption and fashion in general was like an issue that had to be tackled?
So not fashion in particular, but I've always been thinking about this. So I come from Eastern Europe, right? And it was weird because I come from Eastern Europe and we emigrated to Western Europe, right? Searching for a better life and whatnot. And it's different, right? Because where I come from, we always like, I'll give you an example. For example, you could have a Gucci sweater, a Versace sweater, whatever. That thing would never be as cool as like a jacket that's been in your family for like 5 years and your grandpa had in war or something like that, right? So when I came to West, right, to Western world, whatever you want to call it, I kind of saw, I was met with this consumerism, like and materialism. Not like that doesn't exist where I come from. It's just that much more pronounced in this part of the world. And when I saw that, I really started thinking about it. Like, I remember, bro, I was in Switzerland for the first time ever. And I was like, you know, we were in the supermarket and there was like 30 types of yogurt. And I was like 12, you know, like just came from a super small place. And I was like, so who the fuck needs this? Like, is this really needed? It's such a stupid example, just yogurts and whatever, but like it stuck with me. And I was like, do we really need all of this shit? It's just like too much shit. And I don't know, since I was a kid, I kind of had this opinion. And then when I immigrated, the thinking about this became more often and stronger. And eventually I kind of stumbled into fashion world, right? I never thought I'd be doing fashion. I was always into clothing, into looking nice, into having cool outfits and really, really valuable rare pieces. but I just kind of stumbled into fashion industry, and it's a deeper philosophy, right? They just extend and apply to this particular industry.
Okay. No, I think it's a great example, the one of the yogurts, because I wonder the type of, okay, you came as a 12-year-old kid that saw this and it kind of affected you in that way. Like, why the fuck do we need this? But like, it's interesting because as another 12-year-old kid that kind of was born into it, the reaction would be completely different. Be like, oh, amazing. Like, I want all of these. Like, I need them and I'm trying to get them. Right. So like, it's an interesting,
Yeah.
I think, difference between the two reactions. And how do you think, and this is just nothing to do with you or with fashion in general, but how do you think that affects the human psyche? Like when you have that abundance of choice, like how do you think that affects like someone that is trying to even make a choice? And why do we, you know?
I think it's obvious. I think we can, like, there are a bunch of studies and we can see on ourselves. It's like, right, it's like the dopamine receptors get it fucked up. It's like instant gratification, instant pleasure, which is like, you know, I mean, again, these things are obvious. I think it's like when you have too many things start to matter less, right? They matter less. Everything matters less when you can always get something, when you can always watch something. Like, you know, sometimes it was a big deal when you had a TV and like, oh, at 8 they're playing a movie, you know, and then the whole family around got a movie and stuff, whatever. And now it's just like, who gives a fuck? Netflix, YouTube, whatever. It's same with anything really. I think overconsumption and having too much shit, it just kills us a little. It kills the human part of us, you know. And I'm not here claiming that we should go back to the jungle or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? Like, I love modern medicine. I love Netflix and I love ordering food. Like, you know what I mean? It's just that I think people should be aware. They should be more connected to the things they're consuming. And this is applicable to fashion, but I think really good example is food, particularly meat. Again, I grew up, we had our own farm, our own animals. When I ate pork, when I ate chicken, I knew where it comes from. I see, like, you know, I never liked doing like killing animals and stuff. I was like, you know, too kind of emotional for that shit. But I knew where it comes from. You know what I mean? And like, I feel a lot of people buy meat, buy food, all kinds of stuff. They have no idea where it comes from. They don't care. They're completely disconnected from the production of it. And you can't be, you cannot be connected to production of anything when there is as many things in the world as it is today.
Absolutely. No, that makes a lot of sense. And I mean, on that point, it's true, bro. Like there is just an abundance of choice, an abundance of food, an abundance of consume whatever the fuck, whatever you want, there's an abundance of. And I think you said it quite well. It's like it takes up to you, the individual, to kind of make that step, because you're the only one that can make that step and actually let you not take a step forward, but take a step back and try to visualize and put things under perspective. And at the same time, how do you say when you have to be moderated, you know, like you have to moderate yourself and like know your own limits and be able to kind of be very what's it called when you're
I know what you mean, but find a balance. I mean, we did not we didn't evolve for this, you know. We evolved to struggle, to find food, to hunt, to gather, shit like that. I'm not saying like, oh, this is our evolutionary niche and we should just stick to that, fuck everything else. No, but I think people should realize that like what companies that sell products to us, what they're doing, they're essentially hijacking our brain, and they're essentially tapping into that primal, into that evolutionary aspects that we just cannot help. That's why we are so addicted to sugar. That's why we're so addicted to watching constant content. That's why people watch mukbangs, because we evolved to eat with other people. It's a very social thing, and people feel alone. Nobody likes to eat alone, right? And you like, when was the last time you ate something without watching something on YouTube or something like that?
And just thought about just eating,
just like no distract. You put your phone away and you just eat and focus on that.
Well, me, it happened like last week, but just because I was eating while I was cooking. So
yeah, okay, but usually doesn't happen, right? Because
I agree.
And you know, these companies that sell us products and services, they tap into this, and there is, I think, like, yeah, there's a responsibility on people, but sometimes you really can't help it. It's, you know.
No, yeah, absolutely, but I think you can though, because I think that's like the bigger, deeper question. Is like, bro, like I think it's all kind of reduced to like education. If you were to teach children from a young age to like be moderate and, you know, consume as much as they need to and not over consume, and, you know, and kind of create a balance for themselves, and that make those the fundamentals of like education, bro. Like I think that would be like the best type of preaching. But obviously, as you said, these big companies, it's not in their interest to kind
Yeah, of course.
go into, because it's all, at the end of the day, it's all about profits and you know, and everything that comes with it. Okay, so and I want to relate that back to the one of one. So the one of one now is a page, it's a shop. But where do you see the one of one going? Like what would be Marco's 5-year plan with the one of one?
5-year plan? Damn, I don't plan that much into the future, bro. I barely know what I'm doing next week. And that's honestly, and a lot of people I talk to, they're successful, you know, they know what they're doing in this industry. That's how most of us think, right? So I don't think people should have very long-term plans, because it's such a fast-moving environment, right? Like new stuff come up every day. But honestly, I want it to become it's already a community, it's already a movement. I just wanna grow it. The core of what is ideal for me already exists. It's already here. We do our lives, we talk to designers, I promote people, I help them get their careers off the ground, I connect people to collaborate together, we inspire people to start making their own clothing. That's my ideal. That's already happening. I'm already doing that. I just wanna scale it, right? Like my ideal idea for one of one is a place where you go when you're interested in anything custom fashion related, anything do-it-yourself related, right? Like one of one is a place where people like would find materials, would find tutorials, they would find inspiration, like-minded people, really just some like a platform for everybody to keep getting better and keep decentralizing fashion in a sense, right? So that's kind of my goal. I want to inspire as many people as possible to actually physically produce clothing, right? That's kind of my ultimate goal.
No, which makes sense to me. I mean, the platform aspect is already there, right? But what I was kind of interested into asking is like, how can you bring that from a platform into something because physical? And I always relate that back to, because I'm constantly kind of debating that with PS Unique as well. How do I bring this thing that is all on the net to something that is plausible and tangible in real life, and how could that look like if it were to be done?
Well, they're different. Like obviously, like, you know, we're working on some pop-ups, we're working on some events this year, getting it like in person to people, explaining what's going on. But honestly, it's just the way I see it, you're just gonna make it look cool. You just gotta make it look cool, because people want to do the things that are cool, right? And if you can sell the idea of sustainability as something cool, as something not just because, this is the way I see it, okay? And a lot of company in whatever industry that they work on sustainability, I think they do it really wrong. I really do. I really do. I think they make mistakes, because everybody's just like, oh, we should be sustainable because it's good for the world, and you have to be, or we're gonna die, and blah blah blah, and all these messages, they don't get through to people, man. That's not how you do it, right? And I don't care. In like, honestly, from my side, I don't care what's right, what's wrong. I'm not the one to say that, right? I'm not the one to tell you that's right or that's wrong. That's not on me. I don't have that authority. I don't care. I believe in something that's right for me, right? And I'm gonna promote that. I'm gonna make that cool, instead of bashing people on head like, hey, you're doing that wrong, it's morally wrong, whatever. No, I'm just gonna show you the thing that I believe is right, that thing is cool, right? And that's how I'm gonna bring it to people. And
Lead
it's like
by example rather than kind of being more.
Yeah, exactly. And especially in fashion, where everything is about trends, everything is about how something looks, what people will think. Because I think ultimately, at the end of the day, there's a lot of people trying to do deep philosophical stuff in fashion. There's only so much you can do.
I just have a point there, because it's kind of contradictory to go from one side, you know, the consumerism, this and that, but at the same time, we're appealing to that specific thing that the big companies kind of tap into your psyche. We're doing the same thing to kind of promote sustainability and different aspects of garments, right? Like it's kind of like that's the selling point.
No? Exactly. The selling point is just like, these pieces are really cool. They're really made. The process behind them is amazing. The end result is amazing. The whole philosophy behind it, amazing. The community within it is amazing, and it's different, and it's something new. And that's what people in fashion always chase. That's what always look for, right? Because nobody had to, like you don't necessarily have to do it in real life or something to become cool. Like shit explodes online all the time, right? I just think that like I take this approach where I'm trying to like the same way I would market it and promote it if I just had a regular brand and trying to make that brand cool. I'm doing the same thing because I'm not depending like I guess value in one-of-one or the attraction in it, the appeal is not that just is morally right thing to do. That's not what I'm trying to do because that's not enough, right? I realize that's really not enough. So I have that it's morally right thing to do and I build on top of that. And that's how I get people in. You know what I mean? That's the way I see it.
Making it attractive to people that maybe might not be understanding or attracted to the idea, but they'll be attracted to the product, which can eventually lead to get attracted to this whole philosophy that comes behind it.
I can tell you like a really ass example. If I'm selling a product on my website and I use words like upcycled, made out of waste material, made out of scraps, that shit has much less of a chance to sell. Then instead, if I wrote reworked, reused, high quality materials or something like that, then people will buy it. Because even in a community like mine, where everybody knows what the fuck is going on, upcycled, recycled still has a negative connotation. And that's what I'm trying to work on. You know what I mean?
The quality itself just sounds like it's less.
Yes, which is not true. Like I can guarantee you, people do amazing work on my platform, and the people I work with, they do amazing work. But there's that negative connotation that trying to fight.
Well, I think it's interesting that there's even that negative connotation, because to me it just sounds like such a beautiful like story. It's like this piece of garment that was thrown out is given that like new life, and it's refurbished, and it's kind of given a new essentially a new life with someone else and with some new personality traits, which I think is it's an interesting aspect to even to
yeah.
So
it is what it is, that's
what that is. No, definitely. Yeah. Okay, so that's sick. And you were saying about like what you see brands trying to be sustainable. You personally don't believe that that's the most efficient way to do it, or like why? What is inefficient in how brands are doing it? Do you think it's too much of the marketing that comes out? Is it not transparent enough? What exactly?
So it's a lot of moving parts here, right? There's a lot of greenwashing. For people who don't know what greenwashing is when you pretend you're more sustainable than you are, and you're just kind of sustainable in your marketing, but not in your production, right? There is a lot like, again, you can make, like you can use the most organic materials, the most recycled materials and blah, 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 and all of this stuff and fair trade. But once you make 100 hoodies, once you make 500 hoodies, once you make 1,000 hoodies, they're in the world, and that's it. And I feel that companies like, again, there's so many problems, but like the biggest problem is most companies don't care what happens to a product after they sell it, right? They don't think about the life cycle of that product. And I think companies and producers should be responsible for the whole life cycle of the product, right? From the moment they start making it to the moment the customer wants to throw it away or sell it, the one who originally bought it, companies should feel responsible for that item. I feel responsible for every single thing I sell on One-of-One. Even though I did not make them, I just resell them, I just give this platform, I feel responsible for it. We sometimes bought off some pieces that people were done with, they wanted, to resell, whatever. I follow up this process as much as possible. And I think that's the biggest problem. These companies are really not looking at the bigger picture. They don't care. Sustainability is trendy. That's what everybody's doing, right? And that's why I want to avoid using sustainability as my main thing, because I don't want to seem trendy like that, right? It's just like, and again, it's not helpful bashing people over the head, like, oh, use less plastic bags and yada, 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 and do this. Like, it's not going to help much, right? Like, you really got to change the whole structure. You really, we just got to really, and that's a good example, life cycle. Just start thinking about everything you consume. from the moment it's made.
How can you do that when the scale is so large? Like hypothetically, you're selling 1,000 hoodies, fine. What if you're selling 10,000, a million, because you are that company that does that thing? How, you know, it's like, I think all these
Exactly, and
complicated.
that's why I'm not in normal fashion, because I could not be responsible for 10,000 hoodies. I could not be responsible for 1 million t-shirts. I could not guarantee you anything there, right? I could not guarantee you it's made sustainably. I cannot guarantee you it's going to end up where it's supposed to end up. I cannot. That's why I do one-of-one.
Yeah, but because when it can't sustain the world,
the whole planet,
right?
That's the thing. I believe it takes time, but I think it can. And that's why I focus so much on decentralization of fashion. That's why I want as many people to make as much shit as possible, right? In my ideal world, everybody's closet would be full of stuff their friend made, their neighbor made, somebody from their family made, right? Or they even themselves made. That's my ideal world. You know exactly who made your thing. You know exactly where it came from, right? And then different places, different groups become self-sufficient. Yeah. Then we don't need the middleman, right? Like, and that's kind of weird. My ultimate goal is one-of-one is for there to know is to not be one-of-one, to not be need for one-of-one. You get me what I'm saying? Like in ideal world, people would not need this host, this intermediate platform. They would do it themselves. It'd be peer-to-peer when it comes to fashion. Directly designers to customers. Directly the person who makes garments gives it to people. And this is the.
I like that. I think it makes sense, but at the same time, like it's, in my opinion, it's unrealistic, just because it does feel like moving backwards in time rather than forwards. Like I don't think that having a platform is negative in any way, because I think that to be able to distribute it worldwide, you need some sort of platform. It might not be the one-of-one, it might not be whatever the fuck, but like I think, you know, a platform is required just to be able to make those transactions happen on such a big scale. But what I think is interesting, that what you're saying is that I do agree with you. I think that would be the best case scenario, when people just want to create connections with the clothing that they wear. Because I mean, but we can go back in the day. I think people were much more connected with the garments, you know, the products that were being made within the garments, the colors themselves. The colors gave specific like emotions and like represented specific situations and whatever. So all these different aspects that we kind of take for granted today, we just wear black or wear white or wear purple or wear that. We don't really associate that with anything bigger than just a color frame or something else in the abundance of color. But what I think, and this is just me talking because I'm interested in what you're saying. I would love to see this aspect of it, where like, you know, where there's a basic kind of garment for like utility, like purposeful garments, like warm jackets, you know, utility pants that can be worn in the workshop and do this and that. And that kind of could be run not by a central, because there has to be some sort of centralization if it has to be done sustainable across the board, right? Like because then if it's not centralized, there's competitive advantage. That guy's spending X amount more money to create this garment sustainably. I'll fucking cut his goose off and make it cheaper and then make money and make it competitive because of that. So like there has to be some sort of centralization for garments that serve utility and purpose. So the person can buy this because it's the best way to buy this piece. That
sorry, give me a second. Sorry.
No problem.
Jedno me tuku samo, idem u Torec. Bro, I'm so sorry, my little cousin, bro. You can't, you know, it's one of those kids you can't control. I'm sorry. It's just like, he just came into my room and asked me, how many times did you fuck out? Anyways, but sorry, to answer your question, I heard everything.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I see what you mean. I actually like that aspect where we categorize clothing based on actual utility. I think that's really interesting, actually. I think that's super interesting. I think there is already like, look, there is utility clothing, like people outside of like urban areas in the Western world or whatever, right? Like people wear clothing for their uses. They don't give a fuck what
Absolutely. But I feel like those are the ones that, in my opinion, are the less sustainable. Those are the ones that are made in bulk in like X amount and just fucking dropped out and been like, okay, we made 1 billion of these because 1 billion will be needed for actual people, you know? Like I would more like centralized based upon governments, based upon countries. Like countries have their own factories for this basic clothing just to clothe, like go into it. And so at that point, standard is across the board, and then everything that comes on top of it becomes that one of one for aesthetic value. It can be utility as well, but it has that value that's aesthetic.
I actually like that a lot, actually. I think, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the idea with school uniforms, right? That's the idea on a scale.
Exactly.
I like it. I think, dude, I think that'd be fucking awesome if every country had their own specific clothing department in the government. And the clothing department in government was like, their responsibility was every single citizen has to be clothed, right? It's their right. And you gotta give them certain amount of things.
Regulated.
Yeah.
And all of that is regulated by like a third party type person that goes like literally investigates and makes sure that everything is done. Just, and I believe that, and that's where like, at that point where another issue comes into play is like, but exchanges, like, you know, will all the garments be made in-house in country, or is there going to be export and imports type thing?
If what you're talking about, if it was a thing, then they would have to be produced in a country in order to make sense. Otherwise, it's just going to be a monopoly on clothing by government. It doesn't really make.
No, I feel like other countries would still, because what is the benefit of making a piece of clothing in India? It's cheaper rates, or in Asia or whatever. It's cheaper rates because labor or whatever is much cheaper. So it's like taking advantage of someone's losing. If we're making money, someone's losing, if that makes sense.
Well, I mean, yeah, but in your example, then if it was a part of the government, and this is what, I mean, we are both from Europe, a lot of Americans don't understand this. They have like weird ideas about government and private companies and stuff. But like, if it's something in domain of the government, ideally, their goal is not to make money, right? They have goals outside of that.
Absolutely.
So if like, let's say Germany had a clothing department, they will not care to cut profit there. They were like, okay, this needs to provide jobs, and this needs to provide clothing, and this also needs to provide, I don't know, like demand for people who grow cotton here or some shit like that. Absolutely. And they would do it because of that. I think that, yeah, that's how it works.
No, I think that's
I think it's a really interesting idea though.
Yeah.
I think I actually have a really like cool idea now. I think it'd be like a really nice, maybe thought experiment, maybe design experiment to come up with these clothing departments in various countries and see how it would look like.
And the clothing would look like, yeah, no, like making like,
yeah.
I would see them very minimalistic. I would see like very that utility drawn type thing, and maybe have some colors that indicate, because I do think, I don't know if it's flag or whatever, but like have some color that indicate the region and the place that you work at type thing.
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't know. I feel like that's where I see it becoming, you know, garments with purpose. And then at that point, bro, if you want to be the flashy guy that spends X amount on a piece of clothing, like, cool, do that. Absolutely. And that's where the one of one comes in. That's where like individual artists and actual talented artists can tap into that and do that. And at that point, that exchange should be global rather than just, you know, anyway.
Yeah. I see what you mean. I see what you mean. Like utility should be localized, but if you want to be artistic, if you want to be creative, you think that should stay globalized.
Exactly. And at that point,
I see what you mean.
Centralized, but like still on a platform that can allow that.
I like that. Yeah.
So, and this was interesting. I want to go to another topic that I think is very, people will be interested in your regards and what you do from the perspective of a designer. Okay. Because now you have made kind of a position for yourself where you are a page that is working consistently, and it kind of taps into what is attractive for a consumer. I'm a designer. How do I get onto your page? What are the do's and don'ts?
Okay, we should cut this in a short video so I can post it once for all.
Yeah.
Please, if you want to get posted on my page or any other archive page out there, first thing you do in DMs, send photos of your items. Send clear, good photos of your items. Be nice, right? Be, hey, how you doing? What is the process to get this up here? I wanna this on your page. That's it. It's really simple. Like if people are nice to me and they communicate me in a clear way and they actually show me their stuff, I will reply. To be honest, I cannot reply to everything. I get like 50 DMs a day, something crazy like that. And I do reply. I spend most of my working times goes to replying to DMs on IG, right? That's what most of my time goes. And sometimes I get people who are like, oh, this is my first student project ever. Can I get it posted? And it's something super, super basic and shit. And like, I'm not gonna reply to that DM. You know what I mean? Because like, I don't have time for this. And there's this like, know what you do, look through on the page that you want to be promoted, look what they are posting, and figure out if it makes sense for you. Figure out if like if there's a super curated page that posts all this amazing stuff, can you imagine your thing next to there? Think like that and then hit up a page, right? That's how it works.
So I think you have to be honest with yourself. Be
Honest with yourself.
you know,
Yeah, exactly.
because I think
Right.
I think, bro, you know, it's not something bad. Like I think first of all, rejection in this type of domain, in this type of industry, like you have to be brought up to it. Like you have to become immune to absolute rejection.
Yes.
Not because you know your shit isn't good enough, but because your shit can always get better. And if you don't,
Yes.
if you're satisfied with what you make at the start, then there's a big issue for what you're gonna make in the future. If that makes sense, you can be satisfied with it temporarily, but only with the goal of wanting to improve and go somewhere with it.
Yeah. I mean, I can also tell you, like, when it comes to posting on stuff, it's always a balance. Like, oh, I know this will do well for the algorithm and for the page. It's already been posted, whatever. I see it somewhere else, it worked, I'm going to post it. And then there is those moments where I see something completely underground. Nobody knows anything about it, but I think it's amazing, right? And I'm going to post it.
Mhm.
And that's where the curation comes in. And there was a quite few times on this page, and not just on the page, but like in general, what I do, I find something nobody knew about, I really believed in it, I really pushed it, and these guys are now making customs for like rappers and big profile clients and stuff, because somebody like me believed in them and put them on, right? And I can tell you, like, I am probably the biggest page, like I probably have the biggest ratio to like size of my page and the size of people that I post. Like, I don't care. I got like, no, but I don't know. I don't see other archive pages and other, like, not just archive pages, but promotional outlets in fashion in general, promoting as many really small time designers and brands as much as we do here on One of One, because like, that's what we're all about. You know what I mean? Sometimes people get it fucked up. They think like, like undiscovered underground brand means shit, you know, it means like bad design. It's not true. But like, that's kind of what we focus on. And I'm really proud of that. I'm really proud that I can have that balance where I still can run a really successful outlet with really great engagement and everything, with just like mostly based on my own curation. Well, they know, okay, this didn't work anywhere else, but it's gonna work here. I know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense. And I like that too. I think it's how it should be done, because I think quality should always be kind of at the top of that list, especially for promotional aspect. And like you can only really know the quality if you've been in this sector long enough to understand kind of what is visually appealing and what might be comfortable, what might not be, or whatever that comes with it. So I think that comes with
Dude,
time.
I can tell you, show me any piece of clothing. I can tell you, to in my humble opinion, pretty accurately, okay, if I post this on my page, it's gonna have this many likes. If it gets posted on that other page, it's gonna get this many likes. If it gets posted on that subreddit, it's gonna get that many upvotes. But like, I already know. I know these things. I've been doing this long enough, so I can just like figure that out really fast, and it's really helpful. You know.
That makes sense. Another question, because you kind of, I mean, in many of the lives, you say I'm a marketeer. You know, I market things, and that's kind of the way that
Yeah.
How, and this is just for the artists that might be watching this, how should an artist market themselves, and how they should?
Really depends. Really depends. Depends on your brand. There are some marketing universal rules, right? Have a target in mind, know who you're talking to, do research, allow research, pay attention to your analytics, right? Something's going to work better, something's going to work worse. You don't have to like follow that as like Bible or whatever, but keep in mind all these things. Consistency, it's always good, right? You got to be consistent. And all these little things, there are these little universal rules that everybody should adhere to and should follow, at least, to some extent. But it depends on your brand, bro. If you want to do high couture and you be seen as this like amazing, unreachable, unattainable, exclusive designer, then you market it like that. If you want to be somebody who sells free t-shirts and like sells as many stuff as possible for the people or whatever, then you do it like that, right? It's just, you have to know who you're talking to, and once you know who are you talking to, you will know how you talk to them, right? And I think like it's just honestly, when it comes to marketing yourself or designers, they just need to realize these simple things like, okay, who am I and who is my audience? Who are my customers? Who are my fans? It's not easy to find that, and it's a process. You don't just like sit down once and figure it out. But
no,
yeah,
exactly. And I think that really like is exactly the ballpoint of the conversation that we had on the live the other day. That was like in regards, like, and this is where like my other question goes on to, is like, you have to know who you are and how you do things, but that can only be done if you put the marketing as a second thing, right? Instead of it being symbiotic, it's more something that comes after, once you've created kind of what you visualize your brand to be, correct? Or is that something that you think you could grow at the same time?
I think it can be done in both ways, in all the three ways we described, right? You can focus most on marketing and make fashion. You can focus most on fashion and do marketing on site, or you can do it in symbiosis, in like a synchrony, and do it both. And I think all of these approaches can work, again, depending on your brand, depending on your situation. Depends on you what you want to, right? Like if you want to be seen as an OG designer who influenced this guy and that guy and who's respected in the industry, you don't really care for marketing. If you want to make money, you care for marketing, right? But if you want to kind of do both things, if you want to be respected in the industry and work with garments, but still obviously live off it and make money, then you do it in synchrony, right? Like when you actually design a piece of clothing, you also like, you think artistically and creatively, but you also think from business side. Like this is a super stupid example. Like we had a guy on the live, had a t-shirt, it said sex, and he had like an octopus on a naked lady, really like bizarre. And he had a QR code on his back that says that this leads to Pornhub, right? And he's like, well, that's the vibe of the t-shirt. I like that. It's porn, it's sex, right? That's okay. That's the creative part of it. But you can business part in synchrony of that. Okay, instead of QR code going to Pornhub, use your website. Someone's going to see the t-shirt, they're going to scan the QR code, they're going to go to your website, they're going to buy the t-shirt. You're not sacrificing, I think, you're not sacrificing anything design or anything creatively, artistically, but you're making it in synchrony with the business. Absolutely. Like, and I think art and marketing, they're not like separate opposite things. They're two different things. They can work together or they can be against each other. You're just going to make them work. That's how I see it.
That's a good point. And that's only, and I say this, bro, because I do come from a background that I value, just cherish the actual piece of art. And I think that this marketing thing that comes with it is just a necessity that society has brought onto us. Like to live off of this, we have to and I think it's always been the case. Like I'm not saying that you didn't have to market yourself, or you have to people just find you randomly one day and then you pop out. Like there maybe were some artists that got that chance and that benefit to become very successful during their lives, so they could kind of guide their art and have the marketing kind of be symbiotic. Because if you are successful, bro, like no matter what you do, you'll have people that will look into it, if that makes sense. Like you don't have to really market it. People will always be like, oh wow, that was a great, amazing thing. And you can use Kanye West as an example. Whatever the fuck this guy does, there's always going to be fucking dick writers that'll be, oh wow, fucking crazy.
Yes.
And so that marketing kind of really is symbiosis with the art of creating.
Exactly. I mean, I always say Kanye's art is marketing and Kanye's marketing is art. Exactly. He really made the same thing out of those two.
Exactly. But that's when you've achieved to that level. And I don't know, I'm always torn between the subjects, because I do think that for me, I'm very naive in this sense, very innocent. I feel like art should be pure and untampered with, and it should remain into this little bubble, and then we should be the ones that, like, the people that want to buy it and want to consume that art, we should be the ones that like don't even want to touch it too much, just to not affect it or change it or have it go in any other direction. It's kind of this orb that I feel like we want to be very careful how we.
I totally understand what you're saying, and I feel you, but I had like exact opinion like you, but I changed my opinion. It just changed by itself, just from the fact that I see 15, 20 new artists every single day, right? I see so many artists and designers every single fucking day, and I talk to them every single fucking day. And once you talk to so many people, once you see so many people, once you've been doing this for a while, like just like, because I do it on a scale, right? You do interviews with people, it's a lot more intimate, it's a lot more slow.
Personally though, in general, like I do scout, and especially like on the artistic level, like me, it's not only segmented to the people that I scout, but like I keep saying, I want to hear you.
Yeah, I'm just comparing like what you do, a lot more intimate, a lot more deeper, the way you connect to artists and talk to them. For me, it's not that deep. I post 2 times, 3 times a day, 2, 3 different artists, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? And once you do that, it's just like, you start noticing patterns between artists. And they all start looking a lot more similar than they look different. You know what I mean? And that's kind of when I'm like, I don't know, bro. I don't know. Is all art holy? Is all art sacred? I don't fucking know.
That's a great point. That's a great point. But like, that's like, I come in, I'm like, well, not art. All art is good art. Does that make sense? Like, probably some of the people that are very similar. Some of them are just not talented. I think that there's like only like in the whole spectrum of artists, and especially in your spectrum, which is like very saturated at this point. There's like a shitload of people doing the same thing. They want to make it. They want to sell, and everything that comes with it. So like, no, that's not like I'm talking about exactly just not even taking that risk for that one guy that is holy with his art and that does deserve just not even any type of, you know, tampering with, like, oh, you don't have to.
Sure.
So
I understand what you mean. And I totally get it. There are things in my life that I feel about it in that way. A lot of people don't know my calling, right? My real calling. Like if I could push a button and like my ideal job, I would be an actor. I was a theater kid. I've been in theater for more than a decade, right? It's my passion. I love the stage. That's why I do lives, bro. For me, lives is just kind of exchange for that, right? Because I don't have that. I fucking love the stage, man. I love the camera. I love the applause. I love to connect with the audience. I love to make them feel things. I like to make them sad, make them happy. That like, it makes me cry when I think about it, how much I'm passionate about that. And I totally get you. There are certain movies and certain drama pieces that I'm like, this is so fucking genius. This is so sacred. Whenever somebody does like the couple drama texts I'm really passionate about, whenever somebody tries to do some modern about it, you know, change the, I'm like, you know, I'm like, you fucking hips, you know, like stop. So I totally understand what you mean with that. It's just that, and I think, but that's, I don't know, I'm not the one, it's in the eye of beholder, right? It's like, if you feel a certain type of way for that painting, that's you, bro, and you feel about it that way, and you get that satisfaction out of it in your own emotion. But who gives it? Like, why do you care what other people think? And I'm not saying this to you particularly, but like, you know, when people are like, and this is really like noticeable in music, it's like, bro, you don't like that album? That album is the best album. You're fucking stupid if you think this album is the best. And there is some objectivity in music. You can say objectively, this album has better mixing, that one, blah, blah, blah. But who gives a fuck? Like, why do you argue? Why do you try? Like, if you like art, if you really like that piece of art, just like it for yourself. Don't advocate for it.
I think wanting to push your ideals on someone else, especially to something subjective like art and music and whatever, is ignorance. I think that's absolute ignorance.
Yeah,
I completely agree with you. No, I think that you're right. I think that I have to kind of just be more adaptive to the times that we're in. But
I'm not saying
me, it's mostly the aspect of just, it's not about the way the consumer views the piece, but it's how the artist makes the piece and with what intentions, right? Like with bro, if I tomorrow could be in a fucking, you know, nice little beautiful place where like I could be fed and clothed and nourished and whatever, and like not have to think about my art as a way of living, how would my art be different? And to where, how far would I bring this art to kind of, you know, go and see where my limits are? Because
here's my question.
Yeah.
Here's my question though. Or I guess it's not really a question, it's more anecdote. I feel art that how do I say it? Art that feeds you is inherently a good thing about a piece of art. And if a certain piece of art feeds somebody, right, makes their living possible, it doesn't mean it's inherently better than other pieces of art that don't do that, but it's a plus, right? That's why I don't think necessarily like when, yeah, there are pressures and societal pressures to make money with art, and that can dilute art and stuff like that. But I also think there's value in that. If somebody like, let's say, okay, I'll use an example. There is a guy, he's a painter, whole life, wants to be a painter. Paints every single fucking day. Not very successful, right? Because he wanted to be super abstract and do all these things that people don't really understand, but it's super avant-garde, whatever. It never really worked. And then he got a kid. And now he gotta take care of his family, right? And he can be, okay, I can be done with this painting shit. I can find a normal job and do that. Or I can dilute this a little bit. I can make it a little bit family friendly. I can scale it up a little bit. And if he does that, and the art is lesser in his eye, it's still decent. We're not talking about completely selling out. You know what I mean? Just like reducing it a little bit. But if then that can feed his kid, if then can help his wife, that is inherently more valuable than other paintings he did just for himself. That's kind of the way I see it. It's not just about it's about the art. It's about how art is made. It's about why art is made, but it's also what purpose that art serves for the artist, for the society, for the people around everything, you know? That's the way I see it.
I think that's interesting, actually, and I agree. I mean, I have to agree. I do agree.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like
most definitely, yeah.
Yeah. The older I get,
that's better than having to get a small-time job and working at the fucking supermarket just to come home and
exactly
art, right?
Exactly. And that's when I hear so many artists who are like take themselves so fucking seriously, bro, and it's just like their art and just like, dude, it's like selling out or whatever, or doing something that will sell easier. You're not like making a sin, for goodness sake. If that's gonna help you get to a place where you can do what you really want to do at a comfortable level and stuff, just do. Like, it's not that big of a deal.
No,
that's what I'm trying to explain to people, and there's so many people they're like, yeah.
I think I'm one of those people. Honestly, I'm one of those people. But just because
Look, I think it's beautiful.
You know why? I think it comes from culture too. Like, I come from Italy, bro, and the art that we have out there is like, dude, in the churches you'll find some fucking Michelangelos and whatever the fuck, bro. And these things are just put on such a high pedestal of like degree of actual holiness, you know? It's like,
yes.
And so I have a hard time just diluting that and diluting.
I understand that
for the purpose of money, because it's something. I think money for me is something that I think money is the easiest thing to come by. If you think about it realistically, it's one of the easiest to come by, because everyone.
I agree.
Has, and everyone can exchange it. So like cherishing that aspect of things for something like money, it's just something that. But you're right, though. You're right, because it doesn't have to necessarily break it or make it, right? It doesn't have to necessarily go against it.
Yeah, you also have to think about it. I mean, again, you're Italian, and the way, like, because I know a lot of Italians, right? My girlfriend also did masters in Italy. She knows Italian, you know, she's been there. I have some, like, Italians, everything is about finesse, and everything has to have a finesse. Everything has to have some style with it. Everything has to be presented, and the music and the food and the lifestyle. I mean, I always tell people, like, the people who do fashion in LA, I always tell them, bro, visit Rome, visit Milan, visit Paris. Like, I don't want to say this is fashion, but this is different, and see how people here think differently about it. And a completely different vibe from New York, from LA, from wherever, right? There is just like, and I totally agree here with you. It's just that, like, you know, what for like, if I was just doing art, if I didn't have a platform and I was an artist, I probably have opinion much more like closer to you. But as I kind of have to make business happen for the artists, so because that's kind of my job. Okay, you work with me, you're an artist, bro, smoke weed the whole day, make your art. I don't give a single fuck. I'll take care of all the business stuff side of it, right? Because I want that guy to be as free as an artist as possible. And that's why, but for years of doing this, I kind of also pigeonhole myself a little bit, because I constantly think about business side and less the artist side, because I just kind of take that on myself. So, you know.
That's amazing. That's exactly what I think platform like ours should be doing. We should be taking all that weight and then get compensated, get remunerated for it. I'm not saying do this shit for free, but like take
Now,
all
bro.
that weight and all that, all that weight and all that knowledge and whatever and all that marketing and do that for the artist and let them just do them, you know, and be like, look, I got you. Like, I'll sell your pieces because I think that you're talented and I want to curate you. That's where the real curation comes in. And it's like, and that's where like, I honestly, if you have to ask me, where do I see PS Unique 5 years from now? I want it to be a situation where like, not like a label where like necessarily where people take advantage of artists, this and that on the musical sense, but like a label on the artistic sense where like, I want to be able to create a wing of PS Unique where like, I believe, and it is very subjective, and I think it will have other wings as well, but like, I believe that this artist is talented. I want to bring him on. You do whatever the fuck you got to do. Don't take advantage of my time and be like, okay, in 3 years, the guy made one painting and I'm like feeding him and all this shit.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
it's kind of taking away that weight. And I think that's what you do as well, which is valuable. And I think that's the real value of platforms like ours. It's like marketing and doing this whole marketing aspect for people that don't necessarily shouldn't be thinking about.
And the most important thing is you care, bro. Like, I don't even give a fuck. I'm not around space. You know what I mean? I'm not like somebody like that. I like it's about having connection to your clients, and it is about caring. Like, bro, if I do a drop and the drop doesn't do well for the artist, bro, that shit eats me up.
Yeah.
And I'll be this is probably the most honest I ever been about the shit I do. Like, cause IG is weird like that. I'm trying to figure it out, and I'll figure it out. When I do product posts, when I'm selling something, the posts always do worse than just like posts when I just like something, because I guess Instagram thinks I'm making money and they don't like that. They want me to pay the money to buy ads, which I never like. Everything I did is organic, right? And sometimes they purposely flop my posts that I'm selling stuff because you know it just algorithm works like that. And bro, I'll tell you, like, I'm an anxious person, right? Naturally, like an anxious, nervous person. If a drop, not necessarily like no drop ever flops for one-of-one. We always sell at least something, right? Always sell, like every single drop, at least a couple pieces get sold, at least one piece gets sold, whatever. Like artists always, it's always work for the artist because they work so hard to make it work for themselves. But if it doesn't work as good as I intended or as good as the artist hoped, that shit eats me up. Genuinely, I stay awake. I think about it. I get angry about it. I try to make it work because I care about it. And I care for them to have a good experience with one-of-one. And I know so many platforms that don't give a single fuck. They take money and they're like, I have money now. And if I did that, yeah, I'll probably be a better space, like business-wise and then like whatever. But like I care too much and I can't turn that off. So like honestly, like if anybody's listening to this, like that I work with, I lose sleep over that shit. I stress over that shit. Like, I mean, you know, I call you often, like on my phone, and I'm like, Diego, this shit, what the fuck? I just fucking with me. And I'm not angry because of myself or because one-of-one, because one-of-one is getting 200, 300 followers every single day. I'm making sales, I'm getting subscriptions for myself. Like, it's going amazing. But with all that success, if a single designer is not happy with my services, the shit eats me up. You know what I mean? And that's also.
I respect that, but I think as it should, bro. That's the people that I want to work with. You know, people that put their interest and their kind of like their selves on the line rather than making it just a city. Because one-of-one is this platform, but it is you, Marco. PS Unique is this platform, but it is me. Like, bro, and it just takes that perseverance, and that's where like I see valuable, you know, people growing in this industry that have these mentalities, that want to make it personal, like want to be personally affected and want to take care of really take care of artists. And
I feel,
you know,
I feel with me, it's not even want. With me, is have to. I can't turn it off. I don't have that in me where I can just turn it off. And I wish I did. I wish I did, man. And if you talk to my girl, she'll say the same thing. I wish it like didn't like fucking wake up in middle of night and go back to work because the job didn't do as well. You know what I mean? Like I wish I could do that, but I can't. And I just like, that's who I am. And you know, that's the characteristic that one-of-one will take because of me. One-of-one is not forever going to be me, right? Hopefully it's going to scale up. It's going to become a much bigger thing, but I'm going to leave. I hope the imprint that I leave on this shit is this caring, obsessive nature. Cause I think it's really important.
Absolutely. I think you said it. It's I think all businesses should be run in that manner. Like I don't think
me too. That's what I believe. Bro.
yeah. No, you were
I don't think like democratization of workplace is a topic I like. I think workers should have more responsibility and more ownership and blah blah. But I also think like owners should stay a thing, like entrepreneurs who like when you make things happen, you should get rewarded more. I think that's fine. But I think, bro, that owners should not just like think about money. They should like think about their employees, think about the future, think about everything, right? Like really take care of their kin, really take care of everything. Like I never had an employee in one-of-one. And again, I'll be super honest. I never had an employee in one-of-one because I didn't think I can offer them enough. Like I could teach them so much, and I'm sure so many people wanted to work for me. I get like DMs almost every week. Somebody wanting to work for me, like even intern for me and do research and whatnot. I'm just like, yeah, dude, I can help you with some stuff, but I don't know what. Like, I can't give you enough for me to feel okay with you working for me like that. And even when I try to have somebody, I'm like, I don't know what to tell you to do. I do all of this stuff myself, and I like doing it, and I just can't, you know what I mean? You get what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, unless I have something to offer that's good enough, I'm not going to invite anybody or anything. And that's how I think about it, not the other way around, you know? Like, what can you do for me? Like, what can I do for you, first of all?
Absolutely. And I think that showcases into what the platform does, right? It is a promotional platform for others rather than what others can do on the other behalf.
Yes.
But
Yeah, exactly.
what I think is interesting here is it does kind of bring shade to the people that create, as entrepreneurs, create a business and then so easily sell it for a bag, if that makes sense. You know, the guy that makes his business and then it's worth X amount. And what, you know, and it's like, because I think it's the stuff that you think about when you're an entrepreneur. You're like, okay, but could someone today offer me a price tag for me to just give everything that I've done up until now away? And that price tag now is not going to be the same one that it's going to be 10 years from now, 2 years from now, a year from now, because obviously everything has to do with like how profitable the company can be. But like, what would that price look like? And I mean, for me, bro, honestly, I every time I think about it, I'm like, oh, maybe if you give me $3 million, sure, I'll give you PS&E.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the value of it is nowhere close to $3 million, you know?
I actually been thinking about this today, talking with my girl, because again, bro, I stress over this shit a lot. And I'm an anxious person, all this, and it's sometimes not really healthy for me. And I'm really trying to find a balance, you know, between all of this. And sometimes I lose my balance there. And I'm thinking, bro, like one day I just want to sell this shit and be over with, you know, when I feel at the moment like that. And I was thinking, and I was like, if I'm really serious about selling one-of-one, I would just inflate everything as much as possible, make it look 10 times bigger than it is and everything. And then I would just approach investors and whatever, and I would just sell it like that. That would be my plan.
Cool. Cashing in, but so essentially you would be
no rug pull. Everybody does that, bro. Because if I'm not selling my company to a fucking working dad or whatever, I'm gonna sell it to some corporate motherfucker, you know.
I've seen the guy that's losing, really rich.
Fuck him.
But
the thing is,
I understand that, but
I'll tell you my reference. Depop got bought for $1.3 billion, right? And I kind of like easiest for me to compare one-of-one is to Depop. I want to become better Depop eventually. So that's kind of like, but again, bro, if somebody came to me right now and he was like, I have $1 million for you, bro, in this suitcase, shake my hand and everything is gone. I'm saying now I wouldn't, but in the moment, who the fuck knows? You know what I mean? Because when you think, I'll be honest, I've never been honest about these things. Like, I don't want to do one-of-one for the rest of my life. I don't even want to do fashion for the rest of my life. I want to be in fashion. I want to be in the industry. I want to have my eyes and ears to the newest, best stuff all the time out there. I want to always be dressed majestically and stuff. But I don't necessarily want to do this for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? Like, one day I will sell this. And will I be the majority share owner or not? Who knows? Will I own the most shares? Who knows? Maybe I don't, maybe I do. Maybe I don't own any shares after I sell it. Maybe I own 51%. I don't know. But one day I will make my exit, bro. Because like, it's just, no. That's kind of like, why do I do this? Like, I love doing it and everything, but like, I also want to, I want to buy my parents a house.
Would you take that exit to get into bigger or more influential positions, or like?
Oh, of course. Bro, if I go, if I got a million now, the last thing will be like I sit around and do fuck that all, bro. I will already be like, okay, put this much money there, put this much money there. Let's start this idea. Let's get this going. Of course. Like always a jumping board, and that's kind of how I always seen one of one as that, as a jumping board to other ventures in my life. So we'll see where it goes. You know,
Definitely.
but I don't have a exact number for you. I don't know.
No. I think that no exact number could ever be the right number, right? I mean, it's always gonna, but no, it was only just to ask, like, because the way that, like, if I were to, and it's crazy because we are doing something that's relatively similar, and that's kind of why we got in contact and why we can talk about it very closely, because we don't see each other as competitors, but more as something that kind of merged and worked together in the industry and in the space. And so I can relate to the same questions that I ask you to myself, and it's true. There is no fucking price tag that you can put it on, but my idea was mostly like, is it important to you what happens to one of one once you don't have it anymore? If that makes sense.
I would love to say yes, but I'm thinking absolutely, honestly, depends. If I'm at stage of my life where I have money, where my family is happy, where everything is okay, when I'm living a nice life, when I think the world is in a relatively okay position, when I'm doing other stuff that's helping people, right? When I'm already, like, when I'm still doing shit that helps people, yeah, I would care, but I will not lose my sleep over it probably. You know what I mean? But like in some other scenario where maybe I feel like I'm not doing much for other people and I'm just kind of wasting my time, then I would probably care a lot more for it. I'll be like, yo, what the fuck happened to one of one and stuff. It all depends at what stage of my life I'll be at, right? And I always keep it 100 because like I'm not gonna be here like, yeah, bro, I'll care about one of one till my grave, dude. I'll be here fighting for the principle. Like, I don't fucking know, man. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
I think these conversations are getting so theoretical, so they're just in
It's
the
fun, yeah.
of theory. But no, it was just more because the question that I was trying to underline the most was like that personal bound or that personal bond that I believe entrepreneurs should have with their companies and with what they create, you know, with their creations, because it is a baby, bro. Like for me,
Yes.
I see it as my baby, and it will grow to be mature. And then there's going to be a moment where like I can step away from being the parent and kind of let it evolve and get into this thing. But I obviously care what happens to my quote unquote child. I obviously care if it goes from something that had very good ideals to something that is completely there for like the things that I was going against. You know, if my everything I built it not it becomes. That becomes.
I see. Yeah, I mean, I agree totally. Again, like I completely agree, and it's just, again, it depends. Like right now, like I can tell you, I got so many offers. People try to buy one of one already off me. People try to work together with me, dog. You know how many? Like I not that many, but I had a couple of fucking Silicon Valley douchebags. Being like, yo, dude, I work on eBay, I worked on Amazon, blah blah blah. I know how to scale this shit. I know how to do this shit. You take care of that community type thing, and I'll do everything else. Blah blah. Like, let's make a contract, sign this, sign here. And I was like, never, like, nah, because I at first I don't trust you. That's not what I want to do. So if I really wanted to do that, I could, and I haven't, right? And I care, and I love doing this, man. I love what one of one is. I love where one of one is going. I'll keep working on it as passionate as I can, and hopefully this year a lot of changes are coming, a lot of improvements are coming, and I hope for the best, and I'll keep doing what I've been doing for the last few years.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been going for over an hour. I'm gonna have to edit this motherfucker to 15 minutes.
15 minutes? That's how long your interviews are?
I put them interviews on YouTube is the full thing. The full on YouTube it's the full unedited, but on the Instagram, which is the post, it's only 15 minutes, which I'm catching.
Interesting. Okay. Do you have some more juicy stuff for your IG that people want to know, or I don't know?
No, I was gonna ask you rather, is there anything that you feel personally that you want to talk about or that you want to disclose to the people that might want to watch this?
Let me think. Sorry. I really want to think about it. I really want to say something profound and nice. I'm not sure. I just want people to know that, like, I'm just a guy doing this, and I'm super passionate, and I believe in this. Like, I'm super confident too. I don't give a fuck. I know, like, One of Fun is gonna be huge. I know it's gonna be a lot bigger than this. I know, like, one day we're gonna be like Depop, if not bigger. I truly honestly believe that. And I just want people to know, bro, I really do this shit. I really lose my sleep over the artists I work with. I really spend, like, time zones are fucking killing me. I do wake up at 4 a.m. to talk to that guy, to help him, to get this thing going. I really do, do these late hours and really lose my sleep over designers and really put all my soul in it. Like, I'm not an artist right now. I don't make art like that, but I do put my heart and soul for other people. And I just want people to know that, you know what I mean? Because sometimes I don't think people recognize that, the way people talk to me a lot online, the way they're just not disrespectful, but just like, and that's probably just online shit. It's just how online interactions work. But like, I just want people to know that. And also, I guess, I want people to know that I want to start my fashion brand this year, my own brand this year. I really hope for that because, again, bro, I stumbled into this fashion shit. I always had style. I always knew what's good, what's not, but kind of inherently, kind of more artistic, like deeper that you can't explain. I just know this is good. And even like when we do our lives and I see something, oh, that's when I think something's cool, other people also think it's cool. It's gonna sell easy. Like, I really want to do my brand. It might not necessarily be fully one-of-one brand, right? Maybe I do something a little bit different with it, but I definitely want to start my brand this year. Can't say much about it, but I'm preparing and working on it really hard. That's too.
I'm excited for that. It's gonna be cool.
Yeah,
Bro. I think I don't know anything juicy for the people that want to watch. I don't know. I think we kind of went.
that's pretty much it.
I think we went to a lot of topics, and we can maybe get some clickbaits right now. But I think
I think it's fine. People also have our lives. They can check out our lives and stuff that we try and turn into a real.
We never stop talking.
Somehow.
More often, bro. And I was even thinking, bro, maybe what we should do eventually, bro, not only that we should do lives purposed for people showing us their art 2 times a week, but I was even thinking maybe adding a time a week where we do like talking panels and we bring guests and we kind of do what the show was, but on a live and kind of bring that there just for discussion purposes. And
I don't know. We'll see. Because I tried to do a podcast.
Yeah, but the thing with the podcast is that you don't have any interaction with the viewers, you know?
That's what I like about our lives, right? Seeing art and talking to people. And bro, I'll be honest, like there is so much I can listen to people talk. Like sometimes people talk about same shit over and over and I'm just like dying there. So like I like seeing art because it's like useful, fast, entertaining, engaging. And if we like, I don't know, bro, if people care to hear me discuss about philosophy and shit, sure. If they don't care, I completely understand.
I think that I mean, what I noticed, and this is probably not even, I'm gonna cut this off the shit, but whatever. Like what I this is just me and you talking. What I noticed is that I do think that people listen, and what I see that people take out of it the most, what really people take from our lives is when some people are like spreading some knowledge and like spreading some little gems of the industry, and that's what I'm. And people are like interested in that. It's not necessarily, and it's not the artist that we're trying to showcase and promote that's going to be preaching that really good stuff. You know Silk is on there, he can preach it, but we're not going to fucking show Silk's clothing every other day. But like,
I love Silk, bro.
But exactly, that's what I'm saying. So having people like Silk on the panel and creating these discussions just for the purpose of knowledge and not necessarily for the purpose of showcasing.
Let's do it on Discord. Fuck it. Let's have the Discord exclusive for that. People who want real insights, real advices, real knowledge, come to Discord.
Yeah, but it just has to be popping. Like at that point,
it's gotta be popping, bro. As soon as shit open that, trust.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay. Well, that makes sense to me. But anyway, just do a little. I'm gonna right now. I'm gonna cut and paste this shit. But I'm gonna be like, thank you so much, Marco, and then I'm just gonna stop the recording and we can keep talking. Okay. Thank you so much for the interview, Marco. It was a real pleasure, bro.
Thank you, man. It was a pleasure too. It was my first. It was getting interviewed by somebody for the first time. I was always on the other side, so this feels nice.
Yeah, I can't wait till it's my turn to be on the other side.
Yeah, for sure. I can even like jump in. I can be like Peace Unique host for a little bit, just for like one episode. Like, hey guys, I'm Diego now.
The other guy. It could be cool. That could be cool. Actually, I got my carpenter shit, so I could do.
Oh, dude, you know what would be really funny? Just interview yourself. Just cut videos and ask yourself questions and answer, and people will be just so like, what the fuck is going on?
That would be funny. Like I do one side interview. I've thought about that actually because I wanted.
Like, just have different hats.
I didn't fucking do it, but I should. But thank you so much, bro. It was a real pleasure. I'm just gonna
Thank you too, man.